Welcome back to the Movie Draft House. God, I fumbled that real quick. I'm your host, Mark. It's another 5-minute review. In today's review, we're going to be talking about the recently released on streaming biopic, Napoleon. It was originally released in theaters in 2023 and is now available to stream on Apple TV+. It is directed by Ridley Scott, written by David Scarpa, and starring Joaquin Phoenix and Vanessa Kirby. And Joaquin plays Napoleon Bonaparte, and Vanessa Kirby plays Josephine. And that's pretty much it. As far as like big name actors go. So this is a long film. It's 2.5 hours long. But it is quote unquote epic. It is an epic. I think Joaquin Phoenix does a great job of showcasing the acting here. And Vanessa Kirby's okay. She's a good actress, but I just don't think she got really a lot to work with. But the movie spans Napoleon's life, the rise, as he gets into the French military, and then rises the ranks and becomes French emperor, and then his downfall. And so, this movie is full of gorgeous military action sequences. And that's one thing really Scott does well, is he knows how to do action, and he knows how to do big action. And so I think the last, I don't even know how you classify it, but the large military film that he did was that Crusades movie. I forget what it's called. What is it called? I'm going back into this to where I can find. It was back in the 2000s. Anyways, no, I was wrong. Robin Hood is the last one, but anyways, the acting's great in it. It's a funny movie. And it's that was on purpose, I believe. Joaquin Phoenix is, he hams it up at certain points, but he's also like at different times I didn't know if he was gonna be like go unhinged, because he does there's several shots throughout the film where he's just like this dead stare, or this reaction, and he throughout the film I'm thinking he's gonna murder this guy, or he's gonna execute this person, or he's gonna, and sometimes it did happen, sometimes it didn't happen, and so that kept me thinking throughout the film that he was gonna that he was just kind of unhinged a little bit. And I didn't really know the history behind Napoleon. Everybody knows who Napoleon is, but the history of his rise and fall. He got exiled twice. He under his command he lost over 1 million soldiers in, I think it was like a 6 or 7 year span. And so we hear about Napoleon's successes and how he was one of the great generals of in military. But he might have almost been, also been one of the worst, if all of this is true. And, it's a biopic, so take it with a grain of salt. But ultimately, we never really go in depth, with, Napoleon. And I think it's not that he's one-dimensional, but there isn't a lot of depth to him. And for a film that's, 2.5 hours long, Ridley Scott probably missed the missed the mark on that one. I think Napoleon he loved Josephine, but he had to divorce her in order to because Josephine couldn't have kids, so he had to divorce her and find somebody that could, for succession reasons, and that killed him. He never got over that, and like the film goes through the motions with that, but it doesn't really dive in on it, and so I'm not gonna recommend it. I've seen better these war epics, but I mean Joaquin Phoenix is really good in it, so give it a watch if you want. It's 2.5 hours long, so you gotta make time, but I don't think you'll hate that you did, but you have to be in the mood. So, anyways, hit the subscribe button when it pops up so you notice any future content right here on the podcast. And if you want to follow the podcast on all your favorite social media platforms, we're at Movie Draft House. We're right here on YouTube, Twitter, TikTok, Instagram, all the things. And don't forget the podcast releases weekly every Thursday on your favorite podcast streaming platform, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google Podcasts. Anywhere you get your podcasts, we're right there with you. And we'll catch you next time.
If you look down, you'll see a surprise. Once you see it, you will always want it.
Sorcerer of death construction.